Hello, math learners. Welcome back to our college algebra course. This is week 5 of the course. This week, we're going to be talking about probability. We're going to be looking at how probability relates to everyday events. We're going to try to understand the concept of probability using examples. We're going to be looking at basic rules governing the probability calculations. And of course, as always, we want to solve real world problems using probability. So this week, we're going to be thinking about when are we using probability? I think what's the better question is when do we not use probability? So as you can see, whether it's weather forecasting or anytime we're forecasting weather, that is always using probability. And I know I use it in my everyday life just to decide what's going to be the plans for the week. When am I going to go to the zoo? When am I not going to go to the zoo? What would be a good day to do an indoor activity and so on. And of course, it can also just be much bigger than that. If a hurricane is coming, I mean, this can affect insurance rates and all of these things. They're all based on probability. Also, when a credit card company is deciding whether or not to approve you for a credit card or a loan or a mortgage, for example, they're really thinking about what's the probability you're going to pay them back and what's the probability you might default. So these are things that where probability might be coming into play. Also, doctors use probability all the time when they're thinking about what's the probability of survival if I put the patient on a certain type of treatment. What's the probability of success? Or certain patients may not be a great candidate, say for a surgery. So what's the probability there? So all of that are things to consider. And of course, in elections, so anytime there's an election, we are always thinking, what's the probability that this candidate is going to be winning or winning this state or the other state? So all of that, these are just examples of when we see probability, but we can see it in so many other areas. So this week, just like every other week, you're going to be looking at what's going to be due in terms of Alex work, just any reading, any homework and quizzes. You're going to engage in the discussion. Remember to reply to the post of at least 3 of your classmates. For the supplemental resource, I am providing you with the video of a TED Talk. Um, I actually have to double check. I'm not sure if it's a TED Talk, but it is a very, very engaging one that's just really showing who gets the last banana. That's all I'm going to say. I do not want to reveal more, but it is something that's really showing you how probability can really help us make the best decisions. At first glance, you may think one way is the best way to get the last banana, but then, or maybe it's the other way, who knows? But with probability, we know what the probability is, and we can just make the most educated and informed decision. And then for this week, you're going to be submitting your assignment. What are the chances? And this is going to be due on Saturday by 11:59 Eastern Time. For next week, remember, we're going to be going back to our portfolio project. Not something to worry about this week, but just something to preview what we're going to be doing next week. All right, this is it for now, and we'll see you on the next video.